Good afternoon. Welcome back to Excel Snippet, your Excel exam series channel. And this is Excel exam series 2019. And this is series 5.0. In today's video, we're going to see how to manage the workbook and worksheet option. We are going for the second topic called navigate with workbook. When you're navigating with workbook, we will see the following topics. We see how to work with a search of data within a worksheet and a workbook and navigate to a named range or a cell range. And we will see what are the elements and where the elements are available for a workbook and how to insert and how to remove the hyperlink. In today's point, I'm going to start with the search of data. So when I go for search data, so I can search a data based on any context here. So now I'm going to just search my search data within the workbook, and this particular topic or this particular terminology, I'm going to do it partially, not the complete data. This is not only available in my first sheet, but it's also available as a hyperlink on my last sheet. So now I'm going to just go and say Control F. And if you want to find out this, normally you won't see this box because your options are not active. So you will see this box for sure. Now I'm adding the point here called data, and I gave it in a particular point, and then I'm going to just say the options, and I'm going to just say wherever I have a data in this workbook, please go to that particular cell and find me where it is available. So I'm going to just give a next. So it goes to the data part here. When I give a next, it jumps to the last sheet of my list. I can search either by the row or column, or I can search by the following list. Again, in the associate examination, they would like to ask you to search on the normal list. They won't go too deep into it. If you want to be more specific on something, you can just go by the match the entire cell content or match by case. You can do that with this data. This is how you search the data in a worksheet or in a workbook. If you're normally doing a search, you don't want to worry about it. If you are doing it within the sheet, you don't need these logics. So you can just start working with it directly. So it won't go beyond that sheet. This particular sheet, it only revolves around the sheet. If you're looking for the entire workbook, that is where the option comes into play, and you switch that within the sheet to within the workbook. So that is how we can navigate not just in one sheet, but for the entire workbook here. The next logic that we're going to see is how to navigate a name range. So now I've have a two different list here. So I'm going to just create a list of name manager here. So to check the name manager, generally go to your formula and click the name manager. You can see following name managers are there. So I have a city here, date here, and it gives you a lot of other things. I'm going to just remove them so that we can work around with the data even better. So I'm removing all the unwanted data. So this is the data that I have here. I have a sales data in here. When I click this, you can see that it goes from the top to bottom. So that's fine for me. Now I want to add a formula here using the name range. To do that, I'm going to just say equals sum tab, and then I'll recall the name manager by giving an F3 button. Then you can see all the name manager that I showed you in the name range and name manager. Then I can just choose the sales and give an enter. Automatically it gives you the answer. The same answer will come if I manually select these range also. So you can see that the answers are similar. This is how we will find out a name range. When I go to the workbook element, the workbook element is a very rare scenario that we don't even use in our real world. But this is one of the important questions that we are sometimes asked a lot in our associate and office specialist examinations. So when I go back to my file in the info path, we will see these lists. There are two different ways that we are questioned in here. So when I go to the info path, I can either just uncheck or remove the inspection of a field, or I can just remove the basic document properties and then the personal information. So now I have to check here. When I give an inspect, it's going to go through the entire list, and whatever I want to remove it. Now you can see that the document properties are all set up. So they ask you to remove this, just remove this and then close it. So this is the way we play around with the document property. Sometimes they'll ask you to add a category to my sheet name. So generally the category will be a part of our property here. You can see that here. Sometimes they will ask you to be more specific than this. Sometimes the field which is not here, they will term them to give it to you. So they will ask you to give a title here or the author's name, and a lot of things will come into play. When I click the show all property, it shows everything for us. So sometimes you will be asked to add a category or a subject or the company name also. So I'm just trying to add a company name here. Just I'm adding my company name in it. So this is how we play around with our workbook element. Generally, workbook element comes on the inspection of workbook data or the properties that will be filled. So when it is a fewer property, it will be less. You won't see the company name or the categories there. Other component may not be there. If you want to see the entire property, click all property. So it shows you the subject, hyperlink base, company name, category, status. They'll ask you to fill any one of them, so you can fill them in that list accordingly. So, and finally, we are about to see how to work with the hyperlink. We already have a hyperlink here. When I click this, the hyperlink jumps to the respective field. You can see that it is going to the point. If I don't want any of these hyperlinks, I can just give a right click here. And then I can just either remove it or edit it. Sometimes what happens is, now when I click this point, it goes to the green icon here. It goes to I10. They want this to be made to the same sheet, but to A1. So how do I do that? So I'll go back to my hyperlink. I'll give a right click here. Then I'll say edit hyperlink, and you can see that the link is opened here. Now I want to go to the respective sheet and the respective workbook. So this is the respective workbook that I'm working on. I'm working on Office 2020 Associate Module 1.2 in it. And I'm going to go to the bookmark to go to the respective sheet. So here I can go to the sheet here, and then I'm going to change this to A1, and then I'm going to give an OK and an OK. Now when I click it, it'll jump to the A1 cell for me on this list. But again, I gave it in the hyperlink itself. So let me just change this again. Edit. So I'm going to go back to this list, and then I'm going to go back to my workbook element, and yes, and then I'm going to give an OK. Then when I click this workbook element, that automatically jumps to my workbook element and goes, the cursor moves to A1. You can add a hyperlink and you can remove a hyperlink. So this is what we need to learn in a navigation of workbooks. Hope you learned how to search a data and how to add the other data component. So this is Vinod signing out from Excel Snippet, and you are watching Excel Exam Series 5.0. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.